welcome to the Mental Margarita Show. We have Joe Fluharty with us, General Manager of Adventureworks Zipline Tours of Virginia Beach. How are you?
I'm doing just well. How about you?
We're doing just well, and we are excited because we're going to learn more about all of the wonderful tours and ziplining and the fun that's in store in Virginia Beach when we go there and visit. So, Adventureworks is just one of those places that we can have a good time. But let's start with you, Joe. Let's go back a little bit. Have you always been into this adventure seeking type stuff? Were you active as a kid? How did you actually find your way to AdventureWorks?
So I actually, when I was a kid, I traveled a lot with the school I went to. We had a very good travel program, and I've been all over the world a ton. And a lot of that, I've done zip lining everywhere. I've done whitewater rafting, scuba diving, a bunch of stuff. So I've always been in love with being outdoors and very active outdoors and with that. But when it comes to like my professional career, I was never thought I would actually do it as a job. I started as in sales after college, worked my way up to sales manager, and then absolutely hated that. Sitting inside doing a bunch of paperwork, doing a bunch of like just desk work was not something that was conductive for my not only mental health but physical health as well. I gained a lot of weight and was not good. But and then I just decided this year really to focus on only doing stuff that brings me joy and that I love. And I just kind of picked up a part-time job as being a zipline guide, just doing that part-time and then worked my way up and have I've pretty much loving life every day working on it. And I just put in more effort, put in more love into the job and the work that I was doing. And I've been blessed to become the general manager of the park, and I'm loving every second of it. So,
What a beautiful story. That's what our show's about. That's why it's called Mental Margarita. It's about following your passion, following your dreams, doing what makes you happy, and living your best life. So the fact that you can really not call it work because you're enjoying what you do is really the essence of life.
mhm.
And
Yeah,
you know,
my I'm sorry, my
no,
philosophy
go
with
ahead.
it was like, why at the sale being a sales manager, I was working 60, 70 hours a week. Yeah, I was making probably triple as much as I am now, but why would I work 60, 70 hours a week, 50 weeks out of the year, just take 2 weeks vacation where I can work this wonderful job where it feels like every single day is a vacation. I'm not really working. I am working and I'm going hard, but it doesn't feel like work. So really, what I keep telling all my buddies and my friends, and mostly my girlfriend, is that I traded out financial wealth for emotional wealth, and that's um, in that regard, I feel like I feel like Bill Gates. This is the happiest and mentally healthiest I've ever been in my life, and I'm loving every second.
Oh, that's wonderful. And thank you for sharing with us because it's so important. And more people need to find this joy in their life. And we like to tell the audience, folks, it's never too late to try something new. This is why it's great we're talking about ziplining because some people have some fears that they overcome challenges when they try this for the first time. And the AdventureWorks zipline tours in Virginia Beach has tours and ziplines over the beautiful wetlands area around the Atlantic coast. So tell us a little bit about AdventureWorks and the zipline experience. You've got several different tours. Can you give us a little overview of those?
Yeah, for sure. So pretty much the way the process works is, once you sign up, you find the place, you come up to our nice little shack. We get everything all signed up for the waivers, release form. I probably make fun of you if you're scared a little bit, just to introduce you and get you used to it. And then we get you harnessed up. We have full body harnesses and helmets, put those on, and then we go right into the tour after the safety brief. And we have 8 total zip lines ranging from 15 feet high and 250 feet long to 60 feet high and 1,000 feet. And it's a progressive course, so they progressively get taller, longer, faster, and for some people more fun, and other people a lot more terrifying. So it's We have the first four are really good at getting people adjusted and acquainted with the zip lining. They're not super intense, they're not super fast, and they're like, okay, I can do this. And a lot of the people who are really scared and have problems with it, usually by the first two, is they realize they have a problem with it, and then if they can't continue, they can just walk back. And usually by the second one, like, we get a good feel for who needs to walk back. But it's probably we'll probably get one or two people a week that have to walk back. It's not an insane amount of people do it. You'd be a lot more surprised with how well people can handle their fear of heights, especially when you got 8 people behind you. But yeah, no, it's absolutely gorgeous. We go over wetlands. I remember one of my first times working. We do inspections on the lines every morning, and as I was going down a line, deer was actually running alongside me, like parallel to me beneath the line. It was just a very magical moment. And I was like, yeah, okay, I get it. I love this place. But and then we have a nice little nature walk in between line 4 and 5. Um, and then really the last four are the ones that are like the most fun, the fastest, the longest, and really for the people who are like, all right, come on, let's step it up, let's get going. They're like, those are the ones they always say are their favorites. So um, my favorite is number 7 because it's like the pirate one. And growing up, I was really big into pirates, and I always say the Pirates of the Caribbean line, which it's always fun for me. But yeah, no, it's absolutely gorgeous out there, especially in the fall. It's starting the leaves start to change colors. You still have all the green, bright vegetation from the summer and all the storms and stuff. So it's absolutely wonderful, and I love it. But when it comes to people's fears, we I always joke around with a lot of people when it comes to like if they're scared, but if I realize they're like actually scared, we do a great job. We train our guides to be very accommodating for people going through like intense fear. And like I've had people like fear is one of those really weird things because people process it differently. Some people freeze up and go like nonverbal. Some people start hyperventilating and talking a ton and freaking out. And some people start like shaking almost like a leaf in the wind. But really, what I always tell them is I give them the rundown about how safe it is. Like the amount of like I always tell them, what this is probably going to be one of the safer things you do today. I mean, like statistically speaking, I mean, like driving a car is infinitely more dangerous, but also the first 3 are really meant to be the practice runs. It's and the first one especially, it's you come in nice and slow. It's a beautiful view over this little pond that we have. It's very tranquil, very relaxing, and it's a little scary for some people because it's the first one. You're standing up 15 feet in the air, and a lot of people don't realize they have a fear of heights until they are at height. And I always tell them, I'm like, we can put these lines are tested to put a small bus to go down them. As long as you weigh less than a small bus, you're fine, And
That's
it,
encouraging.
yeah, and it's really, and I tell them the landing is an important thing, but it's very easy on the first one. You don't even really everybody stops by themselves. So I always tell them don't stress about that, and then I get them to breathe. I make sure I teach them how to slowly breathe in slowly through the nose and then slowly out through the mouth. I do that 3 times to help reset them, and then that helps calm them down. And I'll talk them through it, and I see what's wrong, what are they afraid of, and all this that. And the longest I've actually had to wait for someone was this little girl. This is my favorite story, actually. It was she was about 9 years old. She was up there crying and like didn't want to do it, and her grandma was kind of like forcing her to do it, and she wasn't into it at all, freaking out. And then when she finally went down, she screamed for about half a second, stopped, and she's like, "Oh wait, no, that's not that bad," and then absolutely loved it the entire time. And that's the other thing I always tell people ahead of time is whoever is the most afraid beforehand almost always has the most fun by the end because all that fear translates to fun, and it's just you get more like excitement going through you. It's an absolute blast, and I really the people who are really afraid, and I have to build them up to get that confidence in them to go down, it's always the most beneficial for me, and it's also the most fun for me. Because I know, you know, getting over like a primordial field that fear that's like programmed into you
Mhm.
is very challenging for some people. And if they can do that, it's a huge personal win and a huge like growth point for them. And it's always fun to watch that. So I absolutely love it.
And that can open up the door for them to do other things. How thrilling! And ziplining is on my bucket list because I haven't done that yet. And ziplining is very popular in Las Vegas. Of course, all the more fun too if you can fly over some beautiful landscape. Now, you also offer a nighttime, a moonlight tour, and a haunted tour. Tell us about those.
So we're actually doing a night tour tonight, but normally we only do them for when we have the full moon. Reason why is because walking through a forest at night with lit up by the moon is unreal. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the best part about it is the way that the lines are set up. It's like we obviously like the trees are kind of like going through it, and you're in this little valley. And as you're going down, you can look up and watch the moon follow you through the trail. It's so surreal. And my favorite one was during the summer. We had fireflies everywhere, and as you're going through all the trees, they're sitting around through all the trees, and it was looking like you're going through like a galaxy. Like it's almost like in Star Wars when you were going like they're shifting to hyperspeed or whatever, going to hyperspace or whatever. It was such a magical feeling. So I love the night tours so much. They're so much more fun. If you're scared, I do not recommend them. Definitely just do it during the day first time because you're looking down the zip lines. I remember even my first time doing it, it was like it was after about working there for 2 months, and I looked down and it's just nothing but blackness. I was like, oh great, I'm zip lining into the void right now, you know. So it was another level of excitement for me after doing it for so long. So it is fun, but if you are scared, definitely do it during the day first. But if you want a little bit more excitement, another level of thrill, definitely do our night tours. I love them so much. Um, and then we also do for obviously for October Halloween, we do a haunted tour, and we're actually doing a ghost tour this year. That's going to be a little bit different than what we've done in the past. We're going to be talking about a lot of the ghost stories that have popped up in the land that we have come to discover over time. So it's going to be, I don't want to spoil any of it, but it's going to be very exciting, very naturally thrilling. And I mean, walking through a forest at night and hearing ghost stories about the area that you're walking through is pretty horrifying in itself. But it's the land that we got is gorgeous, and doing it at night is very fun. But we've actually had a couple of people special request the night tours for birthday parties, and that's what's going on tonight, which is awesome. I mean, I love it. I always have me and a couple of our other guys always recommend people to come out for night tours, and we're starting to open that up for special requests, which is I'm glad to do. Yeah.
That's great. And something else you offer is team building. So talk about that because there's it's great for maybe a group of managers or a company wants to send their key people to come and do something together, bond, you know, have a some challenges that they can go through together. That's always very special. So how does that program work?
Oh, so it's the team building exercises are very fun. What we have at our location, it's more so focused on our other locations. We have two in Nashville and then one in Hot Springs, Ohio, and they have low ropes courses that add little challenges where like I remember my favorite one that I've done is called I think it was the Wild Woozy. What it is you have these two little cables running on trees, and the your task is to walk from one end of the cables to the other, but you can't touch the ground, you can't touch the trees, you just have to hold on to the person you're with. And so you guys are holding
Mm,
on to each other, and then the cables slowly get further away, so you have to lean on each other until eventually you're literally just holding on to each other like that while shuffling. And those are a totally different learning experience, because you have fear of like obviously like I don't want to fall. You're balancing on this. You don't want to like go back, but you also are relying on holding up onto somebody else. So the team building exercises are all based off of like finding your trust problems, what trust issues you have, building trust with other people, and learning also what problems they have. So the I'm I went to Memphis for my certification for all of ropes course and facilitator, and learned all about it. And I went in with zero expectations, like of anything. I'm a big like go with the flow, just like don't think ahead and just uh, uh, go with how I feel. And I was utterly just like in love with the whole process. I was so shocked at how incredible it was, and it was it's strangely moving doing some of that stuff. Like you don't really realize you're going to get into your feels or get into um, that mental space of like, oh wow, I'm kind of I need to work on this or I need to work on that or I'm very good at this. Um, it's so cool. So I love the team building exercises. We do a couple with the zip lines as well, and we gear it and orient it towards certain um, groups. I know we've had like I know the Boy Scouts have come out a couple times. I've had people from my old school, like the heads of their department, come out. It's always fun. Even if you have like any meaning behind it, like with the low ropes course and all the challenges, or if you just want to come out and have a blast with the rest of your coworkers, there's no going wrong. We have so many different programs that are fantastic.
That's great. Wonderful. This is such a wonderful activity for the whole family. Definitely. What can you tell folks about the age range? Because we have from children that can do it, and obviously seniors have done it. So, what's the youngest? What's the oldest that you've seen on the zip lines? Obviously, there's some requirements for that, but
Yeah. So the requirements, there's no age requirement really. It's just a weight as long as they're 50 pounds. And they can't be over 250 pounds. But the youngest I've personally had is 6 pounds, or 6 pounds, 6 years old. And the oldest I've had, I think, was 87 years old. And I'll tell you what, they probably had the same level of excitement throughout the entirety of it too. So it was, yeah, it's really age isn't too much of a thing. The hard part with the younger kids is one, if they could pay attention or not to the safety rules and not run too far away into the swamp, or um, if there's strong winds, sometimes it slows them down. They don't come in as fast, but we have all these so many safety um, like methods and procedures to be able to help anybody out. So they're never unsafe. It's just inconvenient for us because we have to crawl out onto the line and drag and rescue them back, which I actually love to do. It's a great workout. But really, the hardest part for the seniors that I've found is not anything to do with the zip lines. It's going up the stairs. We do about 1.2 miles of walking, and half of that's going upstairs. And if you got bad knees, or if you got a new knee or a new hip or anything, it just takes a little bit longer. But other than that, it's really if you have confidence in what you're doing and just kind of go in with a good mindset that like, hey, everybody's got different abilities. I'm going to be a little bit slower, but I'm still going to rock it. Anybody can do it. Um, as long as you're within 50 and 250 pounds. Yeah, age is, it's
hey,
always fun. I think the oldest couple we've had was we had two 82-year-olds and they were absolutely having a blast out there. It was so cool to see them and they were in great shape and everything. So it was very
this is really exciting. This is fun for the whole family. If people want to plan their trip and plan a tour, what do they need to do? They need to come to the website. They can book right online. Is that right?
they could book online or they can call the number and then we can actually have customer service rep help you through and book you guys up and get everything set up. I will say, make sure you guys bring closed-toed shoes. We have had a couple people show up with flip-flops and stuff, and you have to wear closed-toed shoes. So please, that's like the number one thing people forget. And but otherwise, it's very easy to sign up.
Wonderful. Adventureworks.com is the
Yep,
website.
Yep, and you can also search up Adventureworks Virginia Beach, or really the way most people find us is they literally just Google Zipline, and then they have we're just the first one to come up because we are On Google reviews, we do have 5 stars. Everybody does love us, and yeah, it's really easy to find us for the most part. So definitely, anybody who wants to sign up, anybody in the Hampton Roads area, please Google Adventureworks Virginia Beach. Head on out.
Wonderful. All right, Joe. Well, thank you so much for being with us, and we're excited to share this with the audience and give them something new to try out.
I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Too.
Cool, dude. Appreciate that.
I'm telling you, man, you guys are rocking. And we love the fact that you're on the Mental Margarita show.
Yeah.
We're in Vegas. Well, you're not in Vegas.
No.
Soon you're gonna be though.
I would love to.
I feel like it's happening. I feel like it's a natural progression we got going on.
Okay, cool. That works for me, dude.
You know what? I did some thinking and some pondering, and when you look at the landscape of music right now in current times,
Yeah.
I'm a guy that I love my classic rock. I love that era of rock where it just did something to you, whether it was Led Zeppelin, whether it was Red Hot Chili Peppers, whether it was Metallica, whether it was Creed,
Aerosmith, Nirvana. Yeah, it goes on.
Nirvana. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, I remember where I was when I first heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit."
Oh my goodness. If I had a jukebox right now, I would just have a wonderful night because I would play some songs for you that you would be like, okay. You know about that, okay? So it's really like I have such a musical taste, and when I got a chance to hear the music that you guys had, I was like, whoa, this remind me of that, man.
Yeah. Cool, dude. That's that's exactly what we're going for, and like to hit the mark, that feels awesome.
It does. It feels awesome. So, Jon Johnson, that's you.
Yeah.
You are the front man of the group. Now, is there any other members that you want to give a shout out to?
Everything was recorded with a band full of 4 members. What you mostly hear on drums is a drummer from the DC area named Mike Falcon. And what you mostly hear on guitar is a really talented guitarist out here named Tyler Beard. And then also a lot of what you hear on the bass is a really talented bassist who's now in Nashville, Tennessee. His name is Manny. But these guys, I mean, so we've been at it for 8 years. The guys have left the band. It's me. I play with the ukulele, and I have them there with me and backing tracks on stage.
Wow, that is kind of cool. So you guys form like Voltron.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, if I'm shooting straight, Sly, we wanted the full dream, dude. But I mean, everyone's at different levels of commitment and different levels of like what they're in it for. For a lot of people who like want to get in the rock bands, they want the whole like sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing. You don't have to be famous to get that far. Once a few chicks show up, like a lot of people are like, "Oh, my job is done," and they're like, "I don't need to do this anymore." So,
yeah,
yeah,
you're right about that. And I'm sure that you guys, I'm sure you've already have passed that phase. I mean, it's got to be very available, that kind of atmosphere for you. But you seem like you're ready to take things to another level. You guys have been rocking out Northern Virginia, DC area.
Yeah.
Tell me about that area.
All right, so like it's so weird because it doesn't show up on the map of like music spots, but there are a ton of incredibly talented musicians out here, like people who just wail on saxophone, keys, guitar, like just do crazy stuff. But the scene out here, despite being like this polluted with incredibly talented musicians, is not much of a music scene. I'm not really sure what it is. Just people have a tough time really supporting each other. I think there's a level of like wanting that dream where you think, oh, no one else can be good. It's only me. So but not every music community is like that. Like so DC, we're about 2 hours north of a city that is on the music map, Richmond, Virginia. And out there, there are a lot of talented people out there too, and they're out there just for the music to enjoy the show. So it'd be very scene by scene. it's kind of a culture of the town. But I would say the scene in DC area is a little clicky, not very cohesive, but filthy with talented musicians.
Filthy with talent. Filthy with talent. And you were actually performing songs before this band that we were talking about. You were performing songs at a very historical landmark in Arlington, Virginia area. Tell us about that.
Okay. So this place, unfortunately, was closed down. It was a huge part of the community, but it was called Iota. And like, okay, do you remember the show West Wing?
Yes.
Okay, early 2000s comes out. Aaron Sorkin wrote that. In like the first season, they go to Iota in Arlington, Virginia. But like before the place closed down, like what Nora Jones had been there, John Mayer had been there, like people rolled through. It was a place that earned its spot on the music map in the United States. But they, some big shot developer bought up all these properties on the block that Iota was on and squeezed them out. And like the community rallied up trying to save the place. But I don't know, rich people can squeeze you, man.
They can squeeze you. Gentrification, man.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Let's talk about Cherry Blossom Festival.
Yeah.
DC.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you did headliners with Good Charlotte, Sugar Ray, Gin Blossom.
Yeah.
Jimmy's Chicken. Come on.
Yeah. We got the accolades, dude.
You guys got some serious accolades.
I know.
Tell me that exhilarating experiences.
So I'll go through all of them. So we played. So Jimmy's Chicken Shack was the headliner at a festival called the Frozen Harbor Music Festival in Baltimore, Maryland, and that was probably back in 2018. And Jimmy, like a lot of people in the country, probably don't know who Jimmy's Chicken Shack is, but for the DC area, the Northern Virginia DC area, back in the 90s, early 2000s. These guys were they were the local what's the word, like logo for the punk scene coming out of DC. Like, I mean, skateboarding was kind of taken over, and these guys got a couple videos on MTV. So like, they raised a level of fame and local notoriety. People around here know who Jimmy's Chicken Shack is, but they weren't the Beatles. Not everyone knew who they were, but they were headlining, so they were probably a decade after their heyday. They were headlining a festival in Baltimore, Maryland, at the Frozen Harbor Music Festival, and we won an opportunity to play there. So that was a big deal for us. And then fast forward a little bit, there's a festival in Fairfax, Virginia, which is about a half hour away from where I'm at, called the Celebrate Fairfax Festival. So it's not like Bonnaroo, it's not like Firefly, it's not like Coachella, but it is a local festival put on, and they get like good headliners every year. So they had the year we played, Sugar Ray, the Gin Blossoms, and the Good Charlotte were there. Now,
wow.
Yes. So what people, the little look inside the industry, there's, when you go to festivals, if you haven't been to one before, there's the big stage tent and there's the tiny little tent, So like, we're an unheard of band. We're in the tiny little tent, but we're in the festival. Like, we're on the same poster. So yeah,
that's right.
High five there,
A serious high five there. And I think for, the audience or any artists, aspiring artists that have bands, whatever the case may be, what you got to realize is that, this comes with the territory, and you got to rock it. It don't matter.
Yeah.
And you guys actually did rock it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all, you put it on your music resume, and it definitely helps, showing the accolades what you've done. But yeah, that was a fun time.
I promise you, it helped you get in on the Mental Margarita show.
Heck yeah.
Battle of the Bands competition at Richmond International Film Festival.
Yes, sir.
And you guys were victorious.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. So I was just, okay, I'm the lead singer of the band. I play electric ukulele, but I'm also essentially the band manager. I book the gigs, I do all the promotion, and that's part of the game. Like, so earlier we were talking about, there's a lot of musicians in the DC area who are filthy, but like, if you're filthy and you can't respond to an email, you're not going to get the gigs, And if you're not going for the bigger gigs, you keep going for like the basement house parties are cool, right? But there is an element within the industry of being aware of like your musical resume. So the same way we got into the Mental Margarita show here, I was making the magic to get onto the Richmond International Film Festival, and we got it. And I thought it was a big deal. I had no idea. It wasn't until we got there that we realized like we were playing as part of a battle of the bands that the festival was having. So I was like, oh, okay, but whatever. Like, I'm just here. So to show my music to people. And yeah, so I didn't know we were part of it, but we went home a day before the awards ceremony because we just thought like, okay, we play the show, we're going back home. The next night they're having the awards ceremony, and my DMs on Instagram were just going off for all these people we met at the festival who were telling me we won, you know. So that was cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I never. I believe in my music. I don't, I was always too like nervous to compare it to other people's because music's subjective, you know. But hey, so I never would have enrolled in a competition on my own, but it's good that we won anyways.
I'm telling you, and you guys are so. I mean, you're just great. It's very, very rare. I do my job, but it's very, very rare that I'm like, I hear music and because I mine for it. And when I find something that's really, really great, I'm like, yes, it excites me. And I'm still excited. I'm so excited that let's talk about some of the songs.
Okay, let's do it.
Jameson and the Angry Song. Tell me a little
No
bit
way.
about
Okay. That's crazy. I thought, okay. Before I don't know, before anyone knew who we were, I had a lot of friends. We were playing at this place in DC called the Black Squirrel. And at the end of the night, it was a tiny little dinky dive bar, not a great turnout. At the end of the night, I think the bartender gave us a round of Jameson. And when my friends were there, and she said, and she's a musician too. She said, Jameson makes her soul angry. I was like, okay, that's a writing prompt. I'm going to turn that into a song, Jameson and the Angry Soul. And I wrote that song. The idea of that little challenge was that, like, okay, I'm going to write a song for you. You write a song for me. That way, you're going to sing a song in my style, and I'll sing a song in your style. And they'll just be kind of like, oh, it's some crazy, wacky thing. Well, she never wrote a song, and she didn't take that song. She's like, okay, whatever. I like this song, so I'm just going to have it for us. But that was all it was. It was just it's like a writing prompt. Give yourself a little challenge.
it. And when I think of Jameson, because Jameson is it's a pastime for me, and oh my
Yeah.
goodness, my soul has been angry several times.
Yeah, that's funny.
But it's been happy too. It's been happy, guys. It's been happy. I want to talk about something that's really that evoked emotion
Okay.
when I read about it.
Okay.
Tell me about this girl, and I think that might have been at the Richmond International Film Festival.
Yeah.
She had some kind of illness.
Yeah, her name was Faith. I got to meet her. She was there because she had a little a mini film that was up for an award also. But she came to see our show, and I didn't know that. I'm just playing our sounds, and I see this girl in a wheelchair in the back, and she has her dad help her stand up, like by our second song, and she's dancing for the rest of the set from like song 2 on. And that, I mean, there's a lot of moments you'll have trying to do this art thing where the voices will tell you to quit. But I gotta tell you that nothing's been more powerful for me than that. That like, yeah, this is something worth doing.
Wow. See, so she managed to get up, and
Yeah.
then she was standing and dancing to the song.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. And I love the fact that you said that. So I want to kind of dig in a little bit deeper. I want to talk about you growing up. How was it like growing up? Where exactly did you grow up?
Oh man, a bit all over the place. Okay, so before my folks split, they were both in the Air Force. So I was actually born in an American Air Force base overseas, and then up and down the East Coast a bit till I was 5. Then when the folks split, my family lives in Portland, Maine for 8 years. But I mean, so single mom, 4 kids. It was a tight budget. It was it was kind of a yeah. it was tough financially. So that's where the background comes from. But we moved to Virginia when I was 15, and like where we lived in Maine, it was a lower income community. Everyone we knew was poor. And we moved here, and it's different. You got folks here are military kids. You got rich millionaires out here. It's totally different, financial place. So I yeah, I don't know. Just got to pick from a few different communities. But let me also tell you a difference. I mean, like racially, Virginia is much different from Maine too. There's a culture shock there too.
Right. That's true. But you know what? I can tell that your mother really, she instilled really good qualities in you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And happy belated Mother's Day.
Yeah.
to your mother. She did a fine job.
Thanks, Sly. Happy Mother's Day to your mom too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now your recent project that you got going on.
Yeah.
This is where the excitement comes. I need the drum roll.
Like what's coming out next and no one knows about?
Yes.
Okay, well, let me alley-oop to that real quick. First, I just played 4 shows in Atlanta, Savannah, Durham, North Carolina, and Denver, Colorado, and I'm eyeballing some more shows on the West Coast out this winter. So there's that. But there is an album in the works. It's gonna have 15 songs. It's gonna have a graphic novel associated with it, and I have the title, but yeah. I've got. So I'm very lucky to have a lot of friends who are artists of various different kinds who are excited for just opportunities to show off what they can do. So I've got friends who are working on the story. I mean, I've built the story art structure out, but like I've got the basic plot for the whole story and for each comic and the graphic novel. But like I don't have the dialogue written. I don't have like the scene movement written or anything like that. So there's plenty to do. But I also have the music. So the idea is like one song will go with every comic on the graphic novel, and I have the songs aren't done being written yet either. I have like there's 15 comics, 15 songs, and I've got like 8 song ideas and 7 play songs to write. So there's a lot of work to do. So one of the things I was thinking about was like maybe we break it up into chunks and do like an EP every year until it's done, as opposed to one giant album with one release. Maybe so. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. However, okay, I can't tell you the title yet because I'm positive the title is going to piss a lot of people off. I don't want to piss people off until I've got something to read first.
It's right. Okay. We're not. It's not going to have the Kanye effect, or is it?
No, we're not going. No.
Okay.
It's more. It's the story. Okay, you know what a concept album is, right?
Yes, I love concept albums.
So I just say same. I was super inspired by My Chemical Romance and Coheed and Cambria. Oh God, yeah. And I think is it Biggie Smalls who had the album where it had like the '90s with like a Frankenstein sounding like story before one of the songs.
A Frankenstein?
A Frankenstein kind of like like a little intro. I mean, I'm embarrassed I can't remember it.
Oh my gosh. That's a good
Don't worry about it. Regardless,
surprised I don't know that.
I'll find out and I'll get back to you, okay? But I'm inspired by the idea of telling a story. Like you can hear a song and never know the lyrics and just get the energy of it and dance yourself off, right? But like having a full cohesive story with like metaphors and stuff under it is very exciting to me. So that's something I want to do. And the story is going to be like kind of a sci-fi thing, but it's
man.
Yeah, but it's also gonna play with like religious concepts, which is where I think I'm gonna piss a lot of people off.
Okay. Well, you know what? We're going to be excited, and we're not going to let people get pissed off right now. But I can almost reassure anyone that's watching that we're not going to be disappointed.
Thank you, sir. I believe I agree with you.
So the new single that you got out right now, tell the people what it is. How do they get a hold of it?
I mean, our music is available everywhere streams come true, so Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, YouTube Music, Amazon, whatever you listen to, it's there. So we're the only Touch the Buffalo around, so you're gonna find us.
Touch the Buffalo is in the house.
Yes, sir.
And I'm telling you, I'm loving it. It's gonna be absolutely fantastic. Everything that you got going on. We're just so excited. And that video is so good. Oh my gosh. We're gonna be playing the video for everyone to be able to see the video because the video is absolutely fantastic. Love it.
Thank you, sir.
We got to get you in Vegas soon, my brother.
I'd love to, man. Like I told you, I'm eyeballing shows out on the West Coast in early January. Like, yeah, I mean, I feel like Las Vegas isn't too far.
It's not too far. And I got one more question.
Yeah, let's do it.
Actually, I got 2 more questions.
Take your time.
Question number 1.
Okay.
I want to ask you this. what is your vision? Are you independent? Are you trying to get a major label situation and do a joint venture? How does that look through your telescope?
Yeah, the way I'm looking at it is I feel like a major label signing would change a lot of things. Like, I spoke to a lot of people in the industry, like lawyers and consultants and stuff. And yeah, I mean, the distribution that the giant labels have is just different. Like, for example, we've gotten some radio airplay through Orchard, which is the company that Sony owns, which is essentially a conglomerate of thousands of radio stations across the United States. We've worked with a few of those radio stations, but if you're assigned to Sony, you get put on all of them. The distribution is
Right.
different. So, I mean, it can be done. So I'm not opposed to working with a label, but we've worked with 3 small labels over the years, and, we've gotten some good things out of some of them. Some people, when the contract ended, were actually petty and tried to screw us over. Some people just kind of ripped us off. So,
Yeah.
for the vision for Touch the Buffalo, I want us to be a household name. I want us to hit like Aerosmith and Nirvana. I want us to go in history among the greats, because I believe I'm bringing the same kind of energy those people were tapping into. At least I strive to. Maybe that's arrogance, and
Yes.
I'll find out. But that's what I'm going for, because I think we need it. I mean, it could be some level of just we're in this music saturation area where everyone can put a song on Spotify, and so even finding good people is hard. I started earlier. Like I said earlier, there's plenty of talented musicians out here. So I'm not sure if it's just like the chosen hasn't come along yet, or we're in this era where it's gonna be tough to find them regardless. But it's what I'm going for, and I'm changing strategy up as I find things that don't work out. As of right now, it looks like I feel like if you're signed to a Universal, Columbia, Sony, anything like that, Virgin, I feel like you're gonna do just fine once you get to that kind of space. They don't know who I am yet. And if you go to their sites, they tell you don't even send them demos. They're getting like 5,000 CDs a day, but everyone wants to try to get on. So that's the thought.
Let me tell you this though, John. There's a label executive that's in the hotel room right now that just went to the dispensary and is
Cool.
just chilling out in Vegas, just watching this. And is taking notes. You know how you get those little pads at the hotel room?
Yeah.
They're writing down the information and saying, hey, touch the buffalo.
Cool.
So I'm going to put that in the air, my brother.
What's up, man? Good to meet you.
It's a pleasure talking to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Jon Johnson, Touch the Buffalo. Nothing but love, man. And I'll see you soon, my brother.
It's been great, Sly. Thank you so much, man.
Let's shake the world.
Yes, sir.
So what is my mental margarita? I mean, okay, how do I escape when I'm not doing music? There's so many answers to that. Right now, I'm drinking a cup of coffee on my patio on this gorgeous summer day in Virginia, and this is very relaxing. I'll feed the birds some birdseed, and hope we make a flying buddy. That's one way. Another one is I play video games. I'll get high, I'll put on some YouTube, or I've got one of these like light things. You press it, it puts like stars and blue lights on the ceiling. I'll turn the regular lights off, I'll put that on. I might put on YouTube or like a vinyl, and I'll just go through my video games. But yeah, it's usually some weed plus, adventure or chilling thing. I live really close to this trail called the Washington and Old Dominion Trail, and it goes on for 48 miles. And sometimes I'll get high and go do that. I won't do 48 miles. I'll do like 3 to 6 miles. And the truth is, I don't do that so much anymore. I might do that like once a month. I used to do that a few days a week. But yeah, that's all great ways to relax here in Northern Virginia. Cheers, Mental Margarita.
But I'm a sinner all the same. You my mother was Irish and English. Her maiden name was Mayfield, and somehow she made her way to Manhattan and worked there as a nurse. And she and my father met on a blind date, and then he went off to the Second World War, and she lived with his parents in Brooklyn, and they didn't speak English and she didn't speak Italian. So I don't know how she got through those. It was 3 years.
Wow.
But
They made it work.
yeah, she learned how to cook real Italian food. So that was a benefit.
Wow, that's wonderful. And that was innovative for the time. Not unconventional dating at the time. Wow.
It's true. Yeah, they were both black sheep. But so we lived close enough to New York, to the downtown, that we would go in usually once a month, maybe every other month, to my grandmother's house for dinner with the bigger family. And everybody spoke Italian except my cousins and me, because our parents didn't want us to be, well, it's not that they didn't want us to be Italian, it's that they wanted us to be American. So later in life, when I did some work in Italy, I studied tapes. I speak French passably, but I tried speaking Italian to my father, and he told me I sounded like a hick. I said, no thanks to you, Pop,
Right.
Anyway, yeah. But what was a culture shock was moving from New Jersey to Virginia in 1970. At the University of Virginia, 1969 actually was the first year they allowed women in the university. So that's changed, of course.
What an interesting time that must have been.
Yeah, and the second year they allowed Black students. So it was a culture shock. And when I moved to Richmond I was in Boston in the interim, but moved to Richmond I moved in 75 for graduate work, and they still had separate drinking fountains in the local department stores. They'd taken the signs down, that said white only, like that. So
now coming from the north, you're a Yankee coming down into Southern Territory there. So did you get some backlash from that?
Yeah, a little blowback here and there. We were able to buy a house, having we spent a couple of years in Santa Cruz, California, after I had some success installing. I don't know if you saw the large Indian on my website that I put up in Washington, D.C. And that was successful because it was the only Native American in the capital of America. And that's how the New York Times described it. They were excited about it. Anyway, I was going to loan it to the city of Santa Cruz, and that didn't pan out. And ultimately it ended up back in Virginia, Best Products Company liked having art on and in their buildings, and they put it on their roof overlooking the Beltway in Washington. So it did what it was supposed to do in terms of acknowledging Native Americans. But eventually it made its way to Richmond. And that's in part what gave credibility to my claim that I could do a Neptune statue that was 15 feet from the waist up, which is when I submitted that proposal, that was twice the size of any other of the proposals. Everybody else was proposing Neptune from fin to crown or foot to crown. And
Now, for the audience that's watching, they're having an opportunity as you're talking about this to see images of that process. And
right.
we're in the middle of a travel series featuring Virginia Beach. We want people, of course, to come to Virginia, experience Virginia. It's for lovers. It's full of history. There's so many wonderful things to learn when visiting. Now, your King Neptune statue was unveiled in 2005, so we're reaching a wonderful milestone, 20 years since its installation. And for
Right.
the audience that doesn't know, we're visiting with Paula DiPasquale, listed in the who's who in the world and the America and the arts, graduated from University of Virginia, sculptor who invents and produces public and private sculptures of historical figures and historical people. So now that we know this, because you've done a number of works, and we'll talk about some of those because it's exciting. So the process of King Neptune and just the gravity of the size and the scale of this creation. Now arriving at this story where we're talking about that process, how was that, and about how was it commissioned, and how did that come about that you started creating that there?
Well, it actually began in a phone call that was made to me by a man named Cameron Kitchen. He was director of the Museum of Contemporary Art in Virginia Beach and on the committee to search for a sculptor to do the Neptune that they wanted as a figurehead for Neptune Park. And that came together with the city and the Hilton Hotel and the city's park, which was already called Neptune's Park. And the third component was the Neptune Festival that happens every year. So the Neptune Festival, the Hilton, and the city began the competition. And I never saw the advertisement for the competition, but on the heels of the Arthur Ashe Monument having gone up in 1996, Cameron Kitchen was, as the director of contemporary art, was aware of that, aware of me doing that project. And he called me to say, I think you ought to apply for the Neptune project. Unfortunately, I only had 2 weeks to come up with a proposal and a model because they'd been advertising for 3 months, but I didn't see the first 2.5 months. Anyway, I wanted to get that because they said they wanted an Italian Renaissance style, and they wanted the statue to be 15 feet on 12 feet of rock. So and on the ocean front. So those components are extremely unusual in the presentation of sculpture. And like real estate, location's everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very excited about it, and I built the model. Having done the statue of Connecticut for Rooftop, which was 23 feet between elbows, but just the bust of a Native American. But having done something that big gave cred to the fact that I could sculpt the size sculpture I wanted to do. And so basically, more than twice life size was the Neptune I proposed. But in the world of 3 dimensions, twice is cubic. So the head of Neptune was actually about 4 feet from chin to crown, and with the hair and with the beard, more like 6 feet. So, and then with his trident, he stood 32 feet tall. So I did an inch equal to foot model, and I won that competition. So that's how it all got started.
So that's the 7-foot model that we see a picture of. Was that the? That was the
Correct.
one
Well,
that
I did
was.
the 7-foot model. I had to do. Well, I ended up doing the whole sculpture in China, and that was fortunate in that I had worked with Evergreen Enterprises as a consultant a few years before, and I contacted their operations director, James Hsu, about ordering materials through that company to build the accepted Neptune at my studio in Richmond, Virginia. So James said, well, look, we'll be your middleman. Do it in China. You've got much more talented labor, and it won't cost much to ship it over once it's cast in bronze. And he was right about that, ultimately. But when I got to China, it was necessary to build a smaller Neptune to communicate how I wanted Neptune to both look in style and in pose. And the founder, or the owner of the foundry, had some different ideas about what Neptune should look like. So he and I had to communicate effectively, and that's why I built the 7-foot model. And I built it in China with my assistant, who came with me, Robert Brooker, as well as Zhang Chang, who was the founder, and his hired sculptors. So ultimately, I was able to direct them and work with Robert and build the Neptune in 80 tons of clay in China, in Ningbo, China, which was, it was in a converted airplane hangar with a dirt floor. So OSHA would not have been happy there, or we wouldn't have been happy with OSHA there. But it went, that part went pretty well. We did have trouble because the Chinese government, which had underwritten the cost of copper, changed that rule while this process was going on. And the founder, Zhang Chang, was cut short of copper to make the bronze. So he ran out of money. The government was ready to shut the foundry down and melt down everything we had already done because we were short $40,000.
Wow.
And so there were hiccups like that along the way. But ultimately we got it in Virginia Beach in the early spring of 2004 in 17 pieces that came through the Panama Canal. And the charge was to clean up the surface, and it was raw bronze, to clean it up, weld it together on the beach, ultimately in August. It's kind of like working in an oven. And had it done by October of 2005.
Wow. So, I don't think people understand and grasp the time it takes to put together something this massive, and get it prepared, because at the same time you want something that's going to last and be permanent fixture and an icon, as it has become for Virginia Beach, to welcome people. So from start to finish, were you looking at, is this over a year now in the making?
Yeah, but it went quite rapidly, really. The big ones are in a way easier. For me, the sculpting big is easier than sculpting small. It just takes more people and more money and more agreements to hit the deadlines. But the actual sculpting is exciting. You're right. And part of the best thing of Neptune is many people don't expect to see what essentially is a 32-foot tall statue over the beach. And it's designed so that the turtle is floating above people's heads as if you're underwater with water creatures like the octopus, the fish. The dolphins around the back are also air breathers, but like the turtle, but they're semi-submerged. That's the concept I had in mind. And from my point of view, art is a transformation of concept or a transformation of ideas. Whether people realize it or not, it's still exciting. So people walking down the boardwalk are confronted with Neptune right on the boardwalk, and the ocean behind him is a fabulous environment to view a sculpture. And
It is.
it's all obvious to start with, but living up to making it happen, you're right. It was a ominous task at the start, just one day at a time, you know.
Well, congratulations. And 20 years later, it is remaining there and just a focal point for millions and millions to see each year and visitors. And then 8 years later, you did another sculpture there in Virginia Beach, the Fallen Officers, the Police Memorial. Another
Right.
beautiful piece that's a focal point of Virginia Beach.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm proud of the police memorial. It is three figures joined hands, kind of in a fireman's carry, with just but facing away from their hands and then leaning out over the public 12 feet off the ground, and they are 6 feet from the waist up. So again, not as big as Neptune, but 1.5 times life size. Yeah, that sculpture is a little daunted by Neptune, but it's an attractive sculpture and meaningful one in its way.
And there have been so many, historical figures. The King Foundation commissioned you to make the Dr. Martin Luther King sculpture. That was back in 2004. So this is 20 years as well that this one has been a mainstay. And then you were named Richmonder of the Year after the Arthur Ashe sculpture, which was very controversial. So how did you weather that storm? Because that seemed like it caused all kinds of upset in the town.
Well, the Ashe Monument going in on Richmond's Confederate Monument Avenue in 1996 was controversial. And that project started in 93. I got to meet Arthur Ashe, and it was fortunate that the Connecticut statue of Native American that I mentioned earlier was installed right next to the Arthur Ashe Center in Richmond. So I knew that Mr. Ashe had seen that sculpture. And when I wrote him a letter and said, I would like to do a 12-foot bronze statue of you with your authorization, and if you approve it, then I would seek funding to pay for it and put it in Richmond. Well, the city also wanted to put a statue of Arthur Ashe at the time at the Black Sports Hall of Fame, which he was helping to fundraise, which I didn't know about. So like in the Neptune statue where you had Virginia Beach and the Hilton Hotel and the Neptune Festival coming together, in the Arthur Ashe Monument, you had the city and the Black Sports Hall of Fame. And then I showed up saying, I'd like to do a statue of Mr. Ashe, and had the credibility to, with the city to do it. That allowed it to happen, to move forward. But there were many people who were not convinced or happy that a sculpture of a Black hero, even though he's an international hero and noted author, and activist, but a Black man on Confederate Monument Avenue seemed like heresy.
Right.
There was a lot of fighting, verbally and politically at the time. Ironically, in 2022, the monuments of the Confederate soldiers came down and generals on Monument Avenue. And the city tapped me as consultant to help safeguard the bronze statues and the removal of the pedestals, which were all granite, and the statues. So they all came down, and the Ash Monument is the last man standing on Richmond's Monument Avenue.
Which speaks volumes of its own, really, when you think about it.
Right, it does. It's ironic, but in consulting on that project, I've been consulting since on other projects, things going up as well as coming down, making mostly small things as far as art goes. The big ones take a lot out of everybody, not just money, but because they're unusual, distinct and individual, and that's what makes them great works of art, and not just a decoration.
And you've studied, in a number of schools. You've also taught as a professor in a number of schools all over the world, and traveled and just contributed. You've contributed so much to art and to sculpture, and and just the consulting work you do now. Is there anything in the works right now, something that you have that you're working on, or are you content to continue with the consulting and those what you're doing currently?
Well, to be honest, I'm interested in passing on the baton as far as installation of public works, which is pretty exciting in itself. But currently, in fact, tomorrow I'm going to Rocky Mount, Virginia, and I'm working with a Charlottesville sculptor, Rick Weaver, and I am consulting on the project and advising him. We've worked as a team before doing other statues. But this one is going to be of a Union soldier, Confederate soldier, that will be installed in Rocky Mount, which of course was fought for the South. What was discovered was that there are 70 men who were recruited at the end of the Civil War. 70 Black men were recruited to fight for the North, but they were born in or came from Franklin County. So that's an unusual situation. And a group called Monuments Across Appalachia, funded through the Mellon Foundation, wants to fund commemorative statues or monuments in Appalachia. So they've applied for that grant. They won the grant. The people of Rocky Mount, called Raising the Shade, in part holding hands with the NAACP. So I was tapped to provide the sculpture. And I said, well, I would like to do it with Rick Weaver. And so we're going down tomorrow to pick the final site, which is going to be at the First Baptist Church in Rocky Mount. That they've got a new church, and their old church, which is historic from the 1800s, is going to be more of a historical center. Its last use was a beauty salon. So you can see it's being put back into service as not just a museum, but a site for this sculpture, which will probably be about a 7-foot bronze Black Union soldier, but who came from the Confederate, was born in the Confederate South, representing those 70 men. And the city is not in a complete agreement with the presentation of the statue. That may or may not be needless to say, but I feel like I have to say it.
Right.
So they don't they don't want it in the town square. The city council, pardon me, the city council does not want it in the town square. So the church, which is also in the city the city proper, 3 blocks from the town square, is a perfect site. So that's what I'm working on presently. And then small things that make me happy to do. And you know, I can't give them to my wife for Christmas. I have to give them to other people. She's got enough of my stuff.
I'm sure. And that's what a wonderful gift and talent. It seems like it was, you were just born to do this work. Did this start when you were inspired to go to school? Did it start before that you had this love of sculpting?
You know, the beauty about teaching art in any form, I mean, whether it's the dramatic art or dance or painting or sculpture, is that everybody has talent in that regard in some way, and they just let go of it. Our culture doesn't encourage art per se. I would like to say it allows it, but as a culture, it is our capital. That's what makes cities unusual, including, by the way, Las Vegas. I think Las Vegas does a great job of grabbing onto cultural pages. They just don't call it historic necessarily.
Right.
I like the connection between culture and history. So, but no, I started out in the University of Virginia in 1969, thinking I was going to be a veterinarian, and taking a pre-med courses. I hit organic chemistry after biology, after chemistry, and said, this isn't for me. And then I discovered they had a sculpture department. And then I, still thinking I wasn't going to be able to make a living doing that, I went into architecture. Did that for a year in Boston and recognized I didn't like a desk job. So that's what kept me in art, is I like to be on my feet.
And since 1983 you've been doing this, and you know, it's clearly your passion. And I have an interesting question. Do you have any advice? Because our show, Mental Margarita, is about people following their dreams and finding their escape, what gives them joy, and living their best life. And you know, for artists, we feature independent artists on our show quite often, and entrepreneurs and people that are following their dreams, doing many different things. But what would be your advice for someone that they're not sure how to navigate to be able to follow their passion, say in art, in certain disciplines? What's your advice to being able to let that be your life's, you know, calling, and being able to make a living at it?
Oh, well, that last phrase, to be able to make a living at it's the tricky part, isn't it?
Mhm.
In order to make a living at it, one simply can't give up. That's that part of advice. But the first part of it is everybody has something that drives them, that they're passionate about. They let go of it because many times doesn't seem like you can make a living at it. I spent a lot of time making sculpture that I would have to call wasn't high art. It wasn't exactly frivolous, but it was art that sold. So, for example, when I first moved to Richmond, I was making ceiling ducks, like the kind that quack. And it was just half a duck from the waist down, if ducks have a waist, from the water line down. So when you looked up at your ceiling, it would look like you were underwater and the duck was swimming by. I've got some in my studio. Let me see if this will work. I'll see if I can aim this at my ceiling. Okay. Let me know if you see a ceiling duck.
All right. Oh, I see it.
I don't know if you're going to be able to use that, but at least you get the idea. So
Right.
I sold ceiling ducks to mom and pop stores across Virginia for $25 each. They resold them for $50 each. And then Orvis Catalog picked them up with the middleman who he found manufacturers who could cast from my mold, paint them and sell them. And I got a copyright royalty. So that lasted about 13 years. But I didn't plan to do that. I kept working at it, and it found its own way. And pursuing a passion like that, people respect, well, they respect the passion of it, but it's really the obsession. You get obsessed with wanting to see it work. And in the case of ceiling ducks, I had no trouble at all selling them to dentists because people are looking at the ceiling.
Right. Just
most of the time.
perfect position for them.
Yeah. And then devising way, when I did the Indian in Washington, D.C., in order to raise money for it, I had saved up $10,000 and married the right woman. My wife, Kelly, agreed for us to spend the $10,000 we had saved up pretty much for our daughter's education. And she was 1.5 at the time. But I ran out of money and I sold etchings. I sold 50 etchings, which I called etching dividends. And if you bought one of my etchings, they're only 50, for $200, the dividend part was when the agreement and the dividend was when I sold the sculpture, I would give you your $200 back and you keep the print as a dividend. And it's kind of like crowdsourcing now, but at the time,
Right.
nobody was doing that. And I got the idea from how Off-Broadway produces plays. They essentially sell a piece of the play, and you don't get anything unless the play is successful, in which case you might get your money back if you're lucky. But in this case, people bought a print, and when I sold the sculpture, which ultimately I did, I offered them $200 back, or they could have 6 ceiling ducks. And so half the people took ceiling ducks, and I didn't have to give up the money. And so it's a combination of being obsessed and not giving up. That would be my advice: is follow your obsession, and you don't give up until you don't have a place to live. And you can always find a place to live if you may have to work a job you don't want to do, but then you can still do your art.
Right. And what great advice. And, innovation, you have to be a creative thinker and be open to ideas that, aren't traditional or aren't conventional. So, and we've enjoyed having a visit with you.
Rebecca, I look forward to seeing what you're going to do with this video, because we've had covered a lot of territory. We've had a good time doing it.
We have, and you've given us a lot of wonderful information, and just a little visit and a glimpse inside to your world, and a world that people don't often get to visit. So we thank you for being on the show with us, and for your contribution to the art you've created and what you've given to the world.
Well, you're certainly welcome. And I look forward to seeing the art that you do and what this comes out looking like when it's all edited?
It'll be great, and we're gonna keep in contact. So if we get any updates, any new things, developments that may be happening on your side.
All right, great. Thanks again. Thanks for asking me.
You're welcome. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, bye now.
Bye-bye.
Got rocks? Then visit Beads and Rocks Virginia Beach, the largest selection of beads, pendants, rocks, crystals, and curiosities from all over the world. Serving Virginia Beach for over 30 years. We're located at 335 Virginia Beach Boulevard in Virginia Beach. For more information, call 757-428-9824. That's 757-428-9824.
Live, interactive, family-friendly shows. Welcome to Family Fun Experience Theater. What can you expect? Well, game shows, family comedy, swashbuckling farces, holiday extravaganzas, birthday parties plus superheroes, sci-fi and musical special. Expect something new and fun every week year-round. Relaxing, comfortable couch seating with views overlooking the Virginia Beach oceanfront with plenty of fun snacks and drinks to enjoy. FFX's unique brand of family-friendly fun has the whole audience playing along from kids and teens to grandma and gramps. No kids? No problem. Whatever your age, our middle name is FUN. So what are you waiting for? Head over to ffxshow.org and get your tickets right now.
If you're looking for a one-stop shop for all your skateboarding needs, look no further than Karma Longboards and Skate Shop. We carry a wide range of skateboards, longboards, cruisers, and accessories from top brands, as well as skateboarding apparel. Don't leave without seeing our talented henna tattoo artist ready to add that special design to mark your visit to the beach. We offer good vibes, smiling faces, and great prices. Karma is located at 1704A Atlantic Avenue in Virginia Beach, Virginia. For more information, visit karmaskateshop.com or call 757-470-9396. That's 757-470-9396.
Starstruck, here's a sprinkle of the stardust. Hold your champagne glass and your cigars up. See the guys with mob ties drive the cars up. Bright lights, most nights they buy the bars up. Candy coated Chevy cars on the highway. It's Frankie baby, it's on and this is my way. Dean Martin at the Sands this Friday. With Sammy Davis, here's a little hint where I stay. The city shines like Liberace's mansion. And you know Elvis had the whole city dancing. Showgirl silhouette steady prancing. Shout out to June, just the Copa Girls anthem. Legal gambling, yeah, that would tempt me. It's Sin City, holy water couldn't cleanse me. And Wayne Newton had the crowd in a frenzy. Live at the Stardust, the seats never empty.